Last week, we talked about the community's perspective and specifically the more concerned in the community about the upcoming TurtleWoW class and race updates. We addressed many of the outspoken concerns, but over the weekend, what started as concerns have escalated into full-blown panic and complete doom and gloom. So in this video, I'm going to talk about some of these escalated doom and gloom myths, whether they've come from general chat, whether they've come from forums, whether they've come from social media, and we're going to review if they have any validity or not. Holy Paladin doom and gloom myth, the Shakaden is dead myth. The first myth that I want to look at is that the Shakaden is dead and completely removed from the game. So let's take a look ourselves and see what's going on with Holy Paladins to confirm. If we look at these talents, we can clearly see Holy Shock is very much still in the game. So what is the doom and gloom about? Well, the outspoken in the community are saying Holy Paladin can no longer damage with Holy Shock. That's what they're concerned about. So does this mean that Holy Paladins can do no damage anymore? And why did the devs do this? Okay, let's take a deep dive. Well, the devs have stated that the Paladin was playing exactly the same as the Priest. And what they mean is that both the Priest and the Paladin healer archetypes were healing at range and running from melee enemies essentially. And I'd like to point out the deep dive, the deeper intent of the design here, okay? If the Paladin and Priest are playing exactly the same, with the exception of Paladin having Holy Shock and stuns instead of Holy Fire and Mind Blast and Fear, it means you can't add any abilities to the Priest that would be similar to Holy Shock, okay, for future updates, such as like Penance and instant healing abilities like that, or abilities that can heal and damage like Penance on the Priest, because it'd be exactly the same as the Paladin. You see where the deep dive dev mindset is most likely at with this update. So my thinking is they're probably looking long term, and furthermore they're trying to align the Paladin with the original vanilla vision for the class, and that was a class that was in the fray. It's melee capable and a healer. It's tanky and a healer, okay? Instead of Holy Shock doing damage, as you can see, the Holy Shock will instead just heal, and Holy Strike and Crusader Strike are now being used to essentially do damage in melee and heal the Paladin, okay? So the Paladin's now going to be focused on wearing plate, being beefier, being tankier, having more sustain. The gloom and doom myth of Shakadens being completely dead, it's not true. You still have Holy Shock and you can still do damage. You're basically not doing an ability that by any other name is called instant penance. That's really the focus here, okay? And again, let's just bear in mind that these are preliminary patch notes. Things are still subject to change. They've even gone back on their decision with Holy Strike in the past. They've added Holy Strike and now they're changing it because it was too overpowered. The important part is that they are improving on the vanilla experience, and overall, many of these Paladin changes that are coming are going to be fantastic, especially the blessings are going to 10 minutes. I'm getting off subject. The point is a Holy Paladin that shocks no longer a thing? And the answer is no, it's still a thing. You're just going to be weaving in more melee damage. The next biggest myth circling around forums and world chat and everywhere else is that the warrior is dead. Doom and gloom myth. The entire class is dead. Paladins get everything and warriors get nothing. Let's take a look at the biggest warrior changes and evaluate this community panic. So here is why people think the warrior is dead. The main example is that hamstring is no longer spammable, and instead it is a 6-second cooldown. This is similar to execute. They're both 6-second cooldowns. I myself have mentioned this and the importance of hamstring in the past for many warriors to get proc chances on overpower or wind fury. But I maintain optimism on the warrior for a couple of reasons. The first is that counterattack has been added to the arms tree for warriors, which immobilizes a target if you successfully parry an attack. The second is that a new talent has been added to the Fury tree, which will daze a target, reducing move speed by 50% for 4 seconds when you pummel them. Additionally, pummel is now usable in battle stance, giving us a new spammable ability to get proc chances with. And on top of that, Pummel now does 5% of your base attack power as damage, meaning when you're spamming for procs, you will actually be doing meaningful amounts of damage. Okay, so is the warrior dead because they can no longer spam hamstring? The answer is no. We're getting new tools, new things to use. And while we're on the discussion of new tools, we're actually getting one additional tool that nobody is talking about that is extremely huge for the warrior. Warriors have been notorious for being rooted and becoming one of the easiest classes to kill at low levels, simply because we didn't have anything in our kit to deal with movement impairing effects. You go to fight a mage, they can root you in place 87 times, they can frostbolt spam you and laugh at you at the same time while they press one button and drink coffee. It's a pretty oversought design, you know, in vanilla. It's pretty obvious if you play either a mage or a warrior that something's not quite right. And while I would appreciate getting a spell reflect like we had in maybe TBC, Wrath, or later expansions added to the vanilla experience, we got something that's very close and a step in the right direction. Upcoming patch will add Intervene for all warriors at level 20, so that's the first thing, and a new talent for Intervene, which allows us to become immune to movement impairing effects for 3 seconds after using Intervene. Smart warriors will know this means even in a 1v1, if you're using a certain item, which I will not mention, I'll let you theorycraft and figure out what I'm talking about, you can intervene yourself even and become immune to roots for 3 seconds. This is huge for warriors. This is game changing for warriors. On top of the fact that Pummel is now usable in battle stance, it means we are able to do more to potentially interrupt and have more plays against casters or people who used to just root us in place and have an easy time dealing with us. It makes the game more dynamic as a whole. So, is the warrior dead? No, he's not dead. In fact, things are about to get really exciting. And the last thing, just a quick note. I'm going to address more of these myths. I just wanted to address the most important ones, but I want to take a quick break and just reflect on this note. Many people are concerned that TWoW is changing vanilla too much, without acknowledging a couple of things that I think are really important to look at. The first is that vanilla has already changed on TurtleWoW. It's been updated, and a lot of that's for the better. If the changes we have already witnessed and seen and playtested are evidence of the work that is to come in the next update, we should be very hopeful and very confident, okay? We should be very rest assured that we're in good hands. TurtleWoW has already added so much to the vanilla experience. We have more quests. We have the ability to actually do damage in raids with more classes. We don't have to roll warrior or mage, DPS, or destruction warlocks that have to be spamming Shadowbolt if we don't want to. That's huge. Original vanilla had so many issues, and even still there are many more things that should be addressed for vanilla, even if it's uncomfortable. Okay, progress will lead to a better experience. Their updates or anything to reflect on is that if they make an update that goes in the wrong direction, I think, and I'm confident in the TWoW devs' abilities to adapt and get back in line with the original vision and the original improvement intent. I just want to go over an example of some of the pending vanilla issues that are going to be resolved in the update, because I see some people talking about some other minor rumors that this might help put some perspective on. Priests are always out of mana as a DPS, and there's an upcoming change that aims to alleviate this. Boomkins run out of mana and are not parsing comparably with a lot of other damage specs. This patch aims to alleviate this. Subtlety rogues are not utilized in raids. Every rogue is pretty much a combat rogue. Okay, there's like abilities that are mandatory. This patch aims to alleviate this by giving subtlety other functions and utility uses that give them a better feel in raids. And so many more things like this that have either been forgotten about for years in the vanilla community or just slight improvements are getting attention. We should be looking forward to all the positives, okay guys? Don't hone in on too much of the negative here. I'll continue to reflect on a lot of these circulating myths in the community. I really just wanted to address the two biggest things I've heard to this point. I know many people are still upset at the racial changes, But just keep in mind, a lot of the focus of this update was mostly about raiding, with one exception. There was one developer note about PvP in the Paladin section of the update. Specifically, the Holy Strike was incredibly overpowered. So we're getting a lot of love and attention to raids right now, but stay hopeful. I'm sure that a PvP update will get more attention and detail not far behind this one. Another really important thing I'd like to mention is that while the TurtleWoW community is kind of in an uproar at a vanilla update, meanwhile at Blizzard HQ at the same time, this is from this week, there are bots just running rampant, and they have been for the past 5 years on Activision Blizzard Classic servers. We have been complaining as players to Blizzard, and they just never care. We never get help, we never get answers, and Blizzard just has a huge issue of pushing new era servers, dividing their player base into fragments without any concern for the communities that exist on the previous era servers. Time and time again. I mean, their Cataclysm servers are down to 27 people online as of this week. So, really good comparison to draw between TurtleWoW and Activision Blizzard right now. Thank you for being here. Thank you to the 700 subscribers that have been watching these videos and interacting and providing so much amazing feedback and thought-provoking commentary. It's been great to talk with you guys. It's been great to build this up with the community, and I just appreciate you being here. So thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.